I don't care who you are or what you do, your business is unique to itself. There's things that you do better, there's things that you do worse. There's reasons people hire you, and there's reasons people do not hire you. Understand those things. Play to your strong suit. What's up? How you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in here for another episode of Midweek Modern Craftsman. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love that we've been getting. I know I asked a bunch of followers to fill out a survey. We had a handful of people go on and fill out that survey, which was super helpful for us for the podcast and who we're looking to connect with and what type of content we are looking to put out. So that was super helpful. A quick reminder that we have a free labor burden calculator and a free pre-construction services agreement up on the website. So if you go to moderncraftsman.co, hit the extras tab, there's a labor burden calculator pre-construction agreement. We just need your first name and email address, and you can download them for free. Not positive how long they will be up for free for, but they're up for free now. It's not going to be forever. They will go away at some point. So if you want them, I would suggest hopping on that sooner than later. Because once they're gone, they're gone. So don't miss out on that. Moderncraftsman.co. What else is going on here? My back hurts so badly right now. Excuse me. I'm working at my mom's house, and I don't know what I did over the weekend, but it was just kind of sore. And then yesterday I was doing hardwood flooring, pre-finished hardwood flooring. We pulled the cabinets in her kitchen. We removed a closet. I intended on just toothing in the hardwood where like the walls for the closet was missing, and I was going to pull some from underneath the cabinets to do that so it all matched. And it wound up that they installed the cabinets first when they built the house and then the hardwood after. So they didn't have quarter round around it. Well, I guess that's not actually what happened. I guess that they knew where the cabinets were going to be and they installed it just underneath the cabinets. So there wasn't hardwood under the cabinets. We're changing the layout. So when we pulled the cabinets, there was no hardwood in a lot of areas that we needed hardwood. So we decided to rip out that portion of the kitchen and install new. And my back hurt going into work yesterday. And then I guess just being bent over all day, it was very sore yesterday. I had to get out the old trusty compression back brace, which is sick. I look like like an old factory worker, like somebody who's loading stuff at Costco with like my back brace on, old man status. My lower back sometimes I've always had trouble with it. Honestly, since the time I was in high school wrestling, I guess either tweak my back or it would just be tired. And then being that it was sore, my lower back muscles would kind of overcompensate and not relax. So I didn't realize that that was it for a long time. But the older I've gotten, I can tell when my back's starting to bother me or slightly go out. And then I realize it pretty quickly. And I realize that what ends up happening is just the lower back muscles they're so tense and they're trying to protect whatever little issue that I'm having with my back. And if I prolong it or I just try and push through it for too long, the muscles get really sore. And then as they get more sore, it gets like progressively worse. um, and if I push it past a point, then it's like it could be weeks because my muscles aren't relaxing. They're so tense. I'm not comfortable. And then I wind up like getting all out of alignment and my hips are out of whack. So I noticed yesterday pretty quickly that my back was starting to bother me. So I tried to take it as easy as possible. No running for me after work yesterday. I was like, probably not a good choice. I was on the fence about it. But once I stopped working, I ended up riding a stationary bike last night for a little bit, and then I took a hot shower, and then I got in a little bit of a cold plunge bathtub and tried to rest. It feels a lot better today. But if you guys or girls have experienced lower back trouble, it sucks. I'd like to attribute it to getting older, but I've had this issue, like I said, since I remember high school wrestling, and it bothering me all the way back then. So at least at this point now, I know what's going on, and I know how to, like, how far I could push it and how to protect it and preserve myself from completely being out for weeks. So it's usually a day or two that I can slow down. And then I found, for me, where the pain is, it's like, again, it's those muscles in my lower back that are just tensing up and being overworked. So even just one of those compression braces, like I have, I think it's by 3M, I got it at CVS, but it goes around your waist and Velcros, and there's two additional elastic straps that'll pull it tight. And it's not super tight, but it just like takes a little bit of the pressure off my back muscles having to support my back, and it gives them enough of a chance to rest up. And I get better pretty quickly. So other than that, I can't complain. It's another week of hecticness, craziness, not enough hours in the day, but I've been enjoying it. Again, still not working too much. I'm working a lot during the day, but after work, I'm done with work. Softball started up, coaching softball, first practice yesterday, spending some time with the girls. Rachel was away this weekend, so I spent the weekend with them. Hanging out and just carving time out for life outside of work, which took a long time to get there. But it's becoming more and more normal, and I enjoy it. I have two consulting calls today, and I'm looking forward to them. And I also recently had a consulting call yesterday. Um, and while I was on the call, it was actually, I always enjoy these calls, but this one was um, really enjoyable. Similar company structure to mine, similar in sales, wants to be on the same trajectory, or like maybe it's not even trajectory. I don't feel like I'm shooting really towards anything, um, but just a similar setup, similar age, lifestyle, and struggling a bit with the numbers. And where they fit in this world, in this space, for where they, like, the location that they are, how much work they can put in place, what they want out of life, what they want to make in a year, what type of work they do, how many employees they have. It just very relatable for me, so I felt I could provide a lot of insight for this guy. One of the things that we spoke about, which this podcast is on, and the blog post, if you go on the website, moderncraftsman.co, you can download or just view the blogs. So typically every week I have a blog that accompanies the podcast. So you can hop on the website, click on the blog tab, check that out if you have not. But I titled this one "Why Your Marketing Plan is Ineffective." And Nick and I are working on some things on the back end with business, and just educational, and about what we've learned. And the past week, we were really doing a lot of kind of research and self reflection on marketing strategy and understanding your ideal client, creating an ideal client avatar, and understanding who you are as a business. And as I was getting off the phone call today, we were wrapping it up, and I was like, "You have any quick questions left?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have a couple, just some quick one-off questions that are pretty easy to answer." Um, and he asked me, like, being that I'm looking to shift my work a little away from what I'm doing now, and I'm still going to continue doing what I'm doing, but I'm looking to transition. How do I generate the leads, and how do I market myself um, towards the work that I want? And I've been asked this question a million times. We've been asked it on the podcast. People ask Nick, they ask myself, conversations, consulting calls, all of that stuff. And I've been asked it a million times, and I typically answer it the same way. It's like, get involved with the community, meet with some architects, meet with some interior designers, go on Facebook, create some flyers that you could pass out, send an email out to all your past customers, start generating some Google reviews, obviously, have your website made. And I realized that that's like down the road. There's so much that you need to do prior to that. And a lot of this I knew, but it didn't become quite as apparent and quite as obvious to me until Nick and I have been working on this stuff on the back end with the podcast, which the surveys are helping, all the feedback, signing up for the email link. All of this is helping us put together the information that we need to get to you. But it just wasn't as apparent and as obvious as when this guy asked me this today or yesterday. And I realized that like your marketing plan and what avenues you're looking to tap into that market, and if it's going to be through SEO or you're going to hire a marketing company, how you're creating your sales funnel, all of that stuff is down the road. Like you can't do any of that first, or you can, but it's just a waste of money and it's going to generate a ton of leads that aren't necessarily your ideal leads. And I realized that before you create a marketing strategy, before you create your website, before you like understand or even entertain any of that, um, before you throw dollars at your marketing plan, you have to understand who you are. And obviously, everyone, you say, I understand who I'm in business. I know who our client is, what we do. And I felt that way too for a really long time. But it wasn't until of late that I realized like it's more than just knowing what type of work you do, what type of leads come across your plate. It's knowing what type of leads or are ideal for you. Because for years in business, it was whatever leads landed on my plate, I adapted myself to fit those needs and those leads and cater my business to the needs of the customers, although they may not be the needs of my business or myself. So for me, you can't establish proper marketing until you understand what makes your business successful or potentially successful. Maybe you're not successful right now. Maybe your numbers aren't where you want them to be right now, but in a perfect world, what would the customer look like that would create the ideal job for you? So my answer to this guy was like, before you worry about where you're going to go to get the word out and like the sales funnel, so to speak, you have to understand who you're selling to and what you're selling. And this is what part of what Nick and I were working on. So keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be some stuff coming out regarding this, but you'll hear about it from us, especially if you're signed up for the emails. Um, you have to understand like what makes your business sustainable, what makes you money. Is it volume, is it mid-level renovations, are you an owner operator where maybe you're not maximizing revenue or profit generated from a massive markup on employees, but most of your profit is through your own labor rate and your and substantiating the business costs there. You have to understand what makes you money as a business and how much money you need to survive. And once you understand that, right, what are my costs? What is the cost of business? What do I need to be in business? How much work do I need to sell in a year? That's going to dictate what market you live in as a business. Are you in the high end market? Are you in the mid level in the market? Are you in more of a builder's grade where you need to turn over a higher volume? Without understanding what your market can bear, what type of work you do, what your ideal job is, there's no way to develop a marketing plan. Who are you marketing to? Everyone, and then you have all these leads that come across your plate. And as a small business now, it's like, how do I sift through all these leads? How do I vet these leads? How do I know who's the right fit? So for me, I'd rather do that all before I develop my marketing plan, so that once the leads come in, maybe they're still not all ideal, but it's better than having 100 or 95% of the leads be not your ideal customer, and having to sift through them to find the 5%. Maybe you dwindle that down to 50%, 40%. Get yourself down to 15%, where it's like, oh, all of my leads that come in now, it's a really small, that initial, like the sales funnel, I'm capturing a ton, but then by the time it reaches me that I need to put the work in, I'm down to 15% of the overall potential leads. And now all of those are really well qualified and really well vetted. And now you're not spending a ton of time sifting through the other 85%. Um, you can't do that without understanding what makes you money and what you want to be doing. And those may be two different things. And maybe your market doesn't support your current model, but understanding who you are, what your numbers look like, how much work you have to put in place, what your overhead is, how much responsibility you want, how many hours you want to work, how much liability and risk and tolerance to that exposure do you have. That's going to dictate your market and your marketing plan and where you're going to go to generate those leads. Because one business model may be ideal to go through Facebook, and maybe the other one is to go through a high-end architect. They're different. And there, while there may be some overlap, I think oftentimes they're independent of each other, and you should focus on the areas that generate the highest potential for you. The other aspect of this that's really important to me is, how are you marketing and develop a marketing plan and putting SEO in place if, like, you don't understand who your client is. And a lot of times the preliminary marketing plan is like, all right, well, give me keywords, what areas do you want to work in? And it's very surface level. But if you haven't done like a full inventory of who your ideal customer is and what that customer looks like from um like a social standpoint, as well as a socioeconomic standpoint, as from the demographics of it, you need to consider all these things. And it needs to be on the projects that you've had that were the most successful, or ideally will create the most successful business to you. Again, if you're creating a marketing plan without understanding who your customer is and who you can serve and who your ideal client is, and why this client is a more ideal client than the other client, like, you're just throwing marketing dollars to get numbers and leads that aren't necessarily catered to you and your business. I don't care who you are or what you do, your business is unique to itself. There's things that you do better, there's things that you do worse. There's reasons people hire you, and there's reasons people do not hire you. Understand those things. Play to your strong cards, play to your strong suit. You know, the reason why somebody hires you versus somebody hires another person right now may or may not be ideal to you, but figure out why it is that they're hiring you. If it's a positive attribute, right, where it's like, hey, my site protection's on point, that's great. Sell that. That's an upcharge. That's a premium level service. If it's because your price point is better than everyone else's for the same scope of work, maybe that's your model, but maybe you're also leaving money on the table, and you should start looking how to possibly increase your pricing structure, make a little bit more money for yourself, make a little bit more money for the business, or execute a little bit less, right? Where it's like, we're over investing and putting more into this than anyone else is willing to this for this price point. So figure out what you need to do to make yourself the money. Um, but all of these things you cannot do without understanding who you are, what you do well, what type of value you can bring to your customers, and what you don't do well. And that's also very important, because to sell a project and have a level of expectation for something you know you don't do well, or you just didn't discuss it, right? Where it's super important this client starts this project 2 months from now. You never discuss that. that was just in their head, and you were like, "You know what? Something came up. I need to bump it 2 weeks." And that's an absolute blow up and mission critical issue, and now it's a bad experience for the customer because you didn't understand, "Hey, this customer is really, really bound to this timeline. That's not necessarily what I do well because I'm a small company. I'm working one project at a time. Older homes, a lot of times we've run into issues and our schedule can be fairly fluid. So if I don't properly articulate that and understand that like my ideal client does not have a absolute stringent timeline, then I'm selling to customers and I'm marketing to customers that are not ideal for myself. So while creating this marketing plan, you want to create a sales funnel that captures and distills those leads down to your ideal clients. And you cannot do that. You cannot put any of the tools in place. You shouldn't be hiring SEO. You shouldn't be working on website, all of that until you understand, again, who you are, what you do well, what you don't do well, and then who your client is. What do they look like? Do they have children? Do they live within a 15-mile radius than you? Do you primarily want to be working on second homes where the customer's not there? Are they typically white collar professionals? Are they in high level management? Do they have a higher level of income? What what does your client look like? What needs do they have? Do they like to entertain? Do they like to spend money because it creates a socioeconomic status for them, right? Like there's nothing right. It's not right or wrong. It's matter of fact and it's profiling your customer for your needs as a business. Because if you're generating leads that are not ideal to your business, you're starting off on the wrong foot. You're attracting the wrong customer. It's not an ideal lead. It's not the type of customer that makes you the money that you need to. And you're just spending time, effort, and money on marketing to the wrong people. So I think all that advice about architects, designers, um, creating a marketing plan and possibly hiring somebody to do SEO and being remaining relevant and visible within your area, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, targeted ads, website, web traffic, any of that stuff, blogs, whatever you're doing, all of that for me comes after you understand what the story is, what your story is, what your customer story is, because that's going to dictate how, where, what, and how, and who you should be marketing to. Um, you're going to get a better return on your investment. You're going to get whether it's financial or just from like a time commitment. And your leads that are coming in, being now that you're marketing to uh, a more appropriate sector of potential clients, it's going to generate just a much higher quality lead that's closer to what serves you and your business. So again, focus on the path later and figuring out the who and the what now, right? You need to understand what your value proposition is to your customers. What needs can I solve? What can I do that's different than any of my competition that this customer wants to hire me? Because that's your ideal client. It's not the client who's concerned with what somebody else's strong suit is and something that you struggle with. Um, and then I think once you understand your numbers, you understand what makes you money, the type of job, how the duration of the job, the financial, the monetary value of the job. Again, what your customer looks like, what their work schedule looks like, how far you're willing to travel for them, what's important to them, what their needs are, what issues they've had with previous contractors, what their pain points were. Now you can develop the marketing to back and to serve all of that information. And that's really, really important. And something that like I guess I always knew, but I just didn't when somebody asks me the question, it's always, I felt as though it's putting the cart before the horse to say, go to an architect, go to a designer, go to Facebook, go to all these avenues to market yourself. Hire a company without doing all of the back end work and the due diligence on who is ideal for you to market to and what your ideal client and job is. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of money, and I think that we should spend more time focusing on that before moving ahead, and looking into, hey, how are we going to market this? um, I also think that just not enough people inventory their businesses enough to understand what's working and what's not working. And it's especially with what I do, um, and with how many people I've spoken to, it's really shed a lot of light that I can pretty quickly indicate where the flaws are within your business and where you need to head, and why what you're doing right now isn't really sustainable and why it's not viable. And a lot of times it's just like, hey, we have to switch this, we have to switch that. The way that you're structured right now is not affording you and your business enough money, rather your employees. You need to bring on somebody else because you need to put yourself in a market where you can charge a little bit more per day, and you can't now do that just being by yourself. There's all of these options and avenues, to create a successful business as a small company based on, again, your program, what your needs are, how much money you want to make, how much you want to work. And it's been really interesting to see that, and a lot of the commonalities between that with everyone who I've spoken to, and what their businesses look like and where they're heading. But I think that our industry, it's so fast paced and it's so cutthroat, and we're oftentimes so far behind the curve that we are paddling up water, right? Or upstream, just trying to keep our head above water. And it's go, go, go. You have that lump in your throat, that knot in your stomach that you just need to keep grinding. It's going to get better and things are going to change. And I think that we create a business and a lifestyle that does not afford us an opportunity to step back and inventory the our own company and who we are and what it is that makes us successful and what we struggle with. And then where do we go with all of that information? Who wants what we do? Um, who appreciates the value that we can bring for the things that we do? And I think at that point it's like, now you enlist the marketing to substantiate that customer profile that you've created around your business. Now it's like, now we know what we do and who wants it. Now how do we get more customers like this ideal client avatar? So that would be my suggestion for anyone who's looking. Hey, what do you suggest for marketing? How do I establish more leads? Forget about that. Figure out who and why and what and who you are. Um, and obviously your customer as well. And I think that that's going to be very, very helpful for you. I hope that that was an interesting conversation for you. It was just this like light bulb that I have that went off where I've had this conversation. I've been asked this question so many times, and I just didn't realize that I felt my advice was putting the cart before the horse. And all of us are looking to get there. We see somebody else's marketing agenda program and their strategy, and we want that, but like their strategy may be feeding a completely different beast than what you need to feed. So it's catering it specifically to you, your location, your demographic, your customer, your business. All of those things need to be taken into consideration, and then see what that marketing plan looks like for your business, because it should be catered and tailored to your business to suit your needs and your customers' needs. Um, so if you are interested in hopping on a consulting call, you know, anything business related, it could be work life balance. It could primarily, I'm speaking to people who are similar to myself. They're an owner operator. Maybe they're new in business. They don't have huge dreams of building, a dozen, 2 dozen man, woman crew. And they want to create like a sustainable, lean business. Reach out to me. I can help you out. Tyler at trghomeconcepts.com. Again, I'm doing a couple of these a week, a lot of times on Tuesdays. If there's another day during the week that works better for you, I'm usually on the job between 8 and 4:30 or so Eastern Standard Time. So if it's taking an hour around lunch to hop on a call, I'd be more than willing to do that. So if you are interested, again, I'm not filling my schedule with these. It's very limited as far as how many calls I can get on. I do get a fair amount of these inquiries, and I try and get back to everyone to get them scheduled. But a lot of times it's like, hey, circle back with me. Sometimes I just have availability pop up that I didn't realize I had an hour. And if somebody wants to take that slot, I'll let you know if I have a slot available. But reach out to Tyler at trghomeconcepts.com. I can discuss what that looks like, what the rate is, and how much we can go over within that time slot. So again, Tyler at trghomeconcepts.com. I appreciate everyone who's reached out. It's been really enjoyable for me. Um, Again, I have two more today, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm like excited to talk to people and be able to dissect their business and see how quickly we can figure out changes that need to be implemented to get them to where they need to be. And it's usually not that long. And I feel like from a value perspective, it's very valuable to you and your business. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is um, we have the Contractor Coalition Summit coming up September 27th through the 30th in Boston. If you are interested, hop on contractorscoalitionsummit.com. That's contractors, plural. There's everything from the schedule, how to register, frequently asked questions, other events that we have coming up. If you want to speak with somebody who attended this, we can put you in touch with somebody who attended this, maybe match you up with somebody of a profile that's similar to your business size to see what that investment looked like and what the return on and how, if it was valuable to them. If you're on the fence about this and you're curious and think that this is something you want to do, you're not sure if you want to invest the money, we can put you in touch with somebody who has a similar size operation than yours, and you can have a conversation with them without us to see if it makes sense to do. I'm going to say that most people you're going to talk to are going to obviously endorse this. What I've attended and what I've seen and what's being put together for this next event in Boston is really special. It's really, really smart and educational. It's going to have Brad from AFT, Morgan from Construction to Style, Nick from NS Builders, obviously myself there. And then it's not only that, there's vendors there. There's sponsors there, so you can create the relationships with all of these different companies and people who can help you within your local market. And if you're not local to Boston, they're going to be able to set you up with people who are local to you. So you're going to establish all of those connections. And then also the people who are attending this, it's all people cut from the same cloth with the same exact mindset as you, who want to be doing better, who want to be elevating the industry, who are willing to help and have these open, honest conversations about numbers and business and mindset and work life balance, and are probably going through a lot of the same struggles that we go through from time to time, or even more consistently. So it's not just about the four of us and the host and the education as much. Put some consideration into the network of people who are going to be there and how valuable that can be as well. If you have specific questions, you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with whoever I need to get you some answers. Again, Tyler at trghomeconcepts.com. But that event is in Boston coming up. It will sell out. Limited space is available. It's not a very large event. If you go on the website, you can see how many people attend. It's pretty small, pretty intimate, which to me is the way to go for something like this. But check it out, contractorscoalitionsummit.com. September 27th is going to be here before you know it. So reach out and get something scheduled. That's it for me. Oh, excuse me. Jeez. That's it for me today. As my voice cracks like I'm beginning to go through puberty. As always, I appreciate all you guys and girls with the support, filling out the survey, signing up for the email link for the podcast. It's really important to us. Over the years, we haven't had a ton of asks from everyone, so now that we do appreciate the people who are taking the time to give back. And for me, it serves as a thank you for all the time that Nick and I have invested in this over the years. um, so let's see. I think that's it. I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks as always. And if you need anything, let me know.